Thank you. Thanks.
Awesome. So last, can you just tell us quickly who you are and what you do?
Okay, so I would say I am an empath who is passionate about social justice and supporting marginalized communities reach their full potential. That's me, I think, in a nutshell.
Amazing, thank you. And what led you to setting up Inini?
So Inini is an organization that I set up on the back of challenges that I experienced when I was going through the asylum system and when I was trying to integrate into my new community in England, in the UK. So when I arrived in the UK, I went to Luna House, sought asylum, and I was sent to Liverpool to live in a hostel with other asylum seekers. I was heavily depressed. I didn't even realize then that I was depressed. But when I was registering for, you know, how you do your health registration, the person who was working with me identified that I was depressed. And they asked if I was okay with receiving therapy, one-to-one therapy. And I said yes. And I was given a counseling therapist, but I struggled to engage. And also because this was initial accommodation, I had to be dispersed. So I was sent to Birmingham before I could even do my second session. And whilst in Birmingham, I realized that the situation was similar. I mean, in terms of the environment, the people within the hostels, the sadness that was within those hostels, it was, you could actually touch it, not just feel it. You could touch it. That's how sad everyone was. And it was then when my empath self made a pact with myself that if I am to go get out of this and get my status, I'm going to come back and work with asylum seekers and refugees. So very quickly, my asylum application was decided very quickly. Within 6 weeks, I had a decision. And I started volunteering with Coventry Refugee and Migrant Center, where I live. And whilst I was volunteering, I realized that the situation remains the same, even for migrants who'd been born in the UK, raised in the UK. The situation when it comes to mental health was still bad. So I said, okay, let me go study psychology, come back. I become a clinical psychologist, come back and work with this group. So I did that. I studied psychology. And it was whilst I was studying that I realized, I'm not going to become a clinical psychologist as fast as I thought. So when I was thinking on what should I do next, an opportunity came up for me to do a master's in international development law and human rights. So I did that. And I took modules on asylum seekers and refugees. So the realities, the laws that govern migration. I read about all that. And it was when I was doing now my thesis where I was investigating why recent female migrants experiencing domestic abuse do not engage the law, that I realized that, yeah, I noticed that mental health was a huge issue, but I wasn't sure about the statistics. But now researching into it, I found it just hit me that I just had to do something, which was when I registered Inini. And this is how Inini was born. So what do we do at Inini? At Inini, we offer one-to-one counseling therapy. We do have a peer support group, which is our maybe most famous offering, because within the peer support group, this is where we service users discuss the issues, the challenges that they are facing. And like I always say, the challenges that are faced by marginalized communities do not come from a place where they don't have solutions to them. What they lack is the power to implement them. So in these support groups, we then discuss and come up with solutions. So we design, we co-design we co-design the strategies and we co-design the project. Then I look for funding, deliver the project to the same groups. And also when we meet every week on a Tuesday. And when we meet, we make a traditional meal from one of the service users' home. So it's more like we share that meal because food symbolizes hospitality to many refugees and migrants. And because once we eat, people get relaxed and they're open to talking about, to discuss difficult conversations. And this is when we then, we hold workshops. It could be mental health training. It could be us bringing in a professional in another area. It could be about cancer. It could be about diabetes. It could be about immigration and all that kind of things. And we also do welfare checks where those who are homeless, we signpost or we work with them to make sure we find them a place to stay. Or if it is about their immigration cases, who can we refer them to? If they don't have funding to pay for their cases, who can we refer them to? Who can we talk to? Who can support them? So this is what we do. And then out of the peer support groups, we realize that people would rather do creative stuff than we do the mental health workshops and the counseling, but people prefer to do creative stuff. So we write poetry, we do presentations, we do culture share events where we join forces with other organizations. We have performed with Warwick Arts Center, with the Warwick Arts Festival, with the Belgrade Center, we've done paintings and stuff and exhibited those at the Herbert Art Gallery, the St. Mary's Guildhall. We work with different organizations. And I'm just mentioning this because I think it's the most popular, and it works very well because then people tend to, they relax, they able to form relationships with others in those meetings and the like.
Thank you so much, Ross. That's so powerful to hear about the brilliant work that you do at Inini. And just to wrap it up, in a nutshell, could you just tell me why you think self-compassion is important?
I think other speakers before me spoke about selective compassion. So you would think in a world where sometimes you're not chosen, you can only choose yourself. You can only give yourself that compassion that you so need from somebody else. You are guaranteed that you can receive that.